So I don't like the kid, and I particularly don't like his father, but they definitely know how to get themselves talked about. Been a lot of back and forth over the last couple of days between Teofimo Lopez and Terence Crawford on Twitter. It all started on the 11th of December when I assume Terence Crawford caught wind of the fact that Errol Spence went through eye surgery again, and he says he wasn't making excuses, but he's blatantly blaming these eye problems on his loss to Crawford, saying that he got hit with so many hooks and jabs that he couldn't see. So as much as he wants to say that that's not an excuse, it definitely seems like one at the end of the day. So in light of this, Terence Crawford took to Twitter. I wish I could fight more than one time a year, but these guys been running and hiding for years, boxing nothing like it used to be when everyone fought each other. I fought everyone and everybody that was put on my table, never turned down a fight in my life, even if it was late notice, moving up in weight. Short fighters, tall fighters, strong fighters, fast fighters, boxers, brawlers, etc. I fought them all. Last I can recall, we definitely get our eyes checked before every fight. I'm just saying. Any boxer would know that, but casual fans will say and make up anything. Which is a fair point to make from his side of things, but at the same point in time, we all know that boxing definitely has a shady side, and that fight was going to make a lot of people a lot of money. So if Errol Spence was potentially compromised, I see the darker side of boxing going ahead with that fight. But at the end of the day, if he was compromised, I believe that's his problem to step away from the fight if he thinks that he's not physically able to do it. Not to come out and make excuses. Not that he's making excuses. He blatantly went through eye surgery. So he obviously did have something wrong with him, but you can't just make an excuse for everything, especially, when it's the biggest moment of somebody else's career. But in light of this, Teofimo Lopez took to Twitter and started replying to these comments. So after that little rant, Crawford started talking about Darren Ennis and then moved on to talk about Teofimo Lopez talking about him. And Teofimo Lopez, your bitch ass better worry about them little guys that's on your ass down there in your weight class. It's crazy every time I see your hoe ass. You don't even look my way, but when you in front of a camera, you got so much to say. You're a pussy. Lopez responds to that by saying, time will tell. You also need to focus on getting yourself out of that trapped contract you in with at Errol Spence Jr. and Al Heyman. See you at the top, brother. Hashtag no sucker, plead the fifth. And Crawford responds to that by saying, last I recall, you're the only one in a effed up situation with Top Rank. Go cry me a river. Lopez obviously started getting his back up about this and went on to Crawford's timeline, found a picture of him posting that he was Mr. Two-Time, Mr. First to do it. Tia reposts that and says, and still ain't win Fighter of the Year. Like I said, I don't like the kid, but you can't deny that he's funny sometimes, especially when he's operating by himself. When him and his father operate as a unit, I definitely don't like him. But when he's sort of by himself in the media, he definitely has a bit more of a likable quality to him. So this spawned a couple of different reactions. One from Terence Crawford, who sort of tried to, we'll get onto that in a second, tried to end their little scuffle here and said, hey, Teofimo Lopez, nah, real shit, good luck in your fight. Focus on him because he can fight, and I don't want you to look bad worrying about me when you got other problems on your hand. Which, seems nice, but is probably also a backhanded slight at some point in time. Teofimo replying and speaking about Crawford so fervently also caught the attention of Devin Haney and Bill Haney, and Bill Haney took to, I'm not sure what he exactly took to, he just posted a video somewhere. This is reposted by Michael Benson and then reposted by Teofimo and says, the Haneys are now on the radar. It's about damn time. One fight at a time, baby. One fight at a time. Damn, it feels great to be back. Hashtag boxing. Hashtag the takeover. Now I'll play Bill Haney's words here for you.
Lopez, if you don't knock it off talking about you want Bud Crawford. I just seen you and your daddy, and y'all yelled, why didn't we offer you $20 million? So you can imagine what you'd be talking about to fight Bud Crawford. Listen, act like you got some sense. You hear that money counter in the background. Act like you got some sense, and we can make Haney versus Lopez for that 140-pound unification. Yeah, baby. Act like you got some sense. And stop talking about Bud Crawford. You don't want none of Bud Crawford, and you don't deserve none. Knock it off.
I don't know how Bill Haney managed to surpass Teofimo Lopez Sr. as the most unlikable father in boxing, but in my eyes, he managed it quite easily, especially over the last year. He's just become so up himself. Hard to deal with. You hear that money counter in the background? Shut up. God, insufferable. Anyway, so like I said, it spawned a couple of different reactions. Teofimo versus Crawford is an interesting fight, but Bill also makes a good point that at the end of the day, they're both at 140 pounds. They've been talked about fighting each other for years, and they both have titles, so it makes sense as a money fight and a legacy fight for both of them. Obviously, Lopez has to get through Jermaine Ortiz, who's moved up from 135. I think Lopez gets that done if he especially stays in the form that he had against Josh Taylor. Upcoming video on Josh Taylor and a couple of other missing boxers in a couple of weeks as well. I'm going to do some research and find out why these guys have fallen off the map. But anyway, moving back to the point. Lopez versus Crawford is an interesting fight, but I think that needs to happen after Lopez has done a little bit more at 140. And to do a little bit more at 140, you need to be active. And speaking of being active at 140... there's a little-known champion by the name of Subriel Matias that's made his last 5 opponents retire on the stool. He's the IBF world champion at 140 pounds. Somebody just posted something and tagged Teofimo in it that said, "Fight Subriel Matias, let's go." Teofimo replied to that by saying, "Girl, focus on flipping houses because promoting is not your forte." Nothing to the... didn't allude to anything there in any sense of the word that he wants a piece of Subriel Matias. I don't think anybody at 140 pounds wants a piece of this guy. He is terrifying. I'm going to also try and do a video on him in the next couple of weeks and see what's going on there, because he's just come out of nowhere and started murking people. But I digress. Teo versus Crawford could happen, might not happen, depending on the whole situation that Crawford's got going on at this point in time, especially because he's already moving up from the 147-pound division. He solidified that himself, so Teo's going to have to make a pretty decent jump in weight if he wants a piece of that, and he's going to have to do it in a pretty short amount of time, because Crawford definitely hasn't got a lot of time left on the clock. He's advancing in age, and like he said himself, he wants to fight more than once a year, but these people just can't seem to get their shit together. So, out of this, it would be good to see Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez fight this year, and then once that's happened, we can move on to a potential Crawford situation. I'd also like to see what Crawford has planned now that it seems Spence is going to be out for an undetermined amount of time with this other injury. Who even knows whether he's going to return to boxing with the amount of surgeries that he's had on his face at this point. 2 car accidents and then the absolute car accident that was the Terence Crawford fight. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments about what Lopez should be doing at this point in time. Whether you'd like to see him fight Haney or Matias. That's an interesting conversation to have, and what you guys think Crawford should do next as well. Thanks for watching and subscribing. I'll speak to you guys soon.